As cracks with Washington widen, Putin's forces hand NATO a stinging battlefield setback that raises hard questions about the alliance's future strength. A Ukrainian stronghold built to NATO standards now lies in ruins, as Russian strikes rip through the bunkers and supply lines meant to hold the front. While NATO argues across the Atlantic, Moscow moves fast on the ground, cashing in on political infighting to shift the balance at the front. Even the ceasefire is a battlefield now, with Zelensky and Putin trading clashing narratives that leave the world guessing what's really happening at the front. Battlefield pressure continues to mount in the Russia-Ukraine war, as Moscow claims fresh tactical gains across multiple fronts. Russia says it has destroyed 9 concrete strongholds near Novopavlivka, reportedly built to NATO standards. These fortified positions were described as a critical Ukrainian logistics and defensive hub in the Dnipro region. Russian assault units from Battlegroup Center are said to have led the operation against these heavily defended sites. Commanders claimed the structures were once considered impregnable and had formed a key part of Ukraine's defenses since 2024. Officials say intelligence gathered from publicly available Ukrainian data played a crucial role in planning the assault. Moscow is presenting the destruction of these strongholds as a major tactical breakthrough on the battlefield. At the same time, Russia reports that Ukrainian forces suffered around 1,240 casualties in just one day of fighting. Russian officials claim continued advances while inflicting losses on Ukrainian troops and artillery systems. Clashes are ongoing across multiple directions: north, west, south, central, east, and the Dnipro axis. Both sides remain locked in a prolonged war of attrition, with no clear end in sight. Meanwhile, Ukraine has intensified long-range drone strikes, targeting locations deep inside Russian territory. On May 4th, a drone struck a building in Moscow, with no casualties reported, according to RT. Ukraine has also been targeting Russia's oil infrastructure, which it says helps finance Moscow's war efforts. Russia's defense ministry says its forces have struck key Ukrainian transport infrastructure over the past 24 hours in the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. Moscow added that drone storage facilities were also targeted across multiple frontline regions. Russian aviation, artillery, and unmanned systems reportedly hit 142 Ukrainian military positions in coordinated strikes. Officials claim these attacks disrupted critical supply routes sustaining Ukrainian frontline operations. At the same time, Russian air defenses say they intercepted more than 500 Ukrainian drones and rockets. Authorities describe these interceptions as evidence of Ukraine's growing reliance on drone warfare tactics. Fighting continues across key regions, including Donetsk, Kyiv, and Zaporizhia. These developments point to a broader strategy of targeting both logistics and operational depth within Ukraine's defenses. Overall, the situation reflects a deepening phase of warfare, with sustained pressure on infrastructure and supply chains on both sides. Russia announced a 2-day ceasefire in the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war, set for May 8 to May 9 during Victory Day commemorations. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky responded with a counter-proposal, suggesting the ceasefire begin earlier, on the night of May 5 to May 6. The announcement comes amid continued fighting, as both sides face pressure to temporarily pause the conflict. Russian President Vladimir Putin had also reportedly raised the idea of a ceasefire during a phone call with Donald Trump. Meanwhile, Moscow warned that any disruption of the ceasefire or Victory Day events would trigger a strong retaliatory missile response against Kyiv. Amid a public disagreement with the United States over the Iran war, Germany has now commented on what appears to be a slowdown or limitation in American military support and deployments. The German Chancellor has said that the United States will not station Tomahawk cruise missiles in Germany for the time being, according to multiple reports citing his latest remarks. Friedrich Merz also attempted to push back against speculation, denying that the US decision on Tomahawk missiles was in any way linked to his recent criticism of President Donald Trump. Speaking to German public broadcaster ARD on May 3, Merz said the United States is currently facing a shortage of Tomahawk systems, limiting its ability to deploy such weapons abroad. The Americans don't have enough for themselves right now. Objectively speaking, there is virtually no possibility of the US supplying weapon systems of this kind. There are absolutely no compromises and no restriction on the US commitment to nuclear deterrence in the NATO area. unquote. Moers also addressed the issue in a separate interaction with NDR, where he spoke about the planned withdrawal of US troops from Germany and ongoing discussions around that decision.
We are trying to work together to solve the problem using the various options available to us. And during my last visit, as well as in our phone calls, I kept telling him that this war is now having a significant impact on us, that we would like to see it brought to an end, and that we are also offering help. We have organized this as well. I helped organize this within the European part of NATO, within the EU.
He would have liked you to offer help right now. Then perhaps he wouldn't be so angry.
But I told him that too. I told him, if you want us to help you in such a conflict, then give us a call beforehand and ask us. In that respect, it is a difficult situation. I hope that we can find a way out of this situation. In any case, I stand by my fundamental conviction that the transatlantic relationship is of great value to us all. I have to accept that the American president holds a different view on these issues than we do. But that does not alter the fact that I remain convinced that the Americans are important partners for us, the most important ones in the North Atlantic Alliance, and that we have a shared interest in Europe and America working together to end this conflict and then, for example, to end the conflict, the war in Ukraine, to provide joint security guarantees for Ukraine. We have already achieved a great deal together in this regard. We have a different view of this war. That is no secret. I am not alone in this. We have a common aim, and that aim must be Iran must not be allowed to acquire the atomic bomb, and that is what we are working together to achieve.
Donald Trump has announced that he will withdraw 5,000 or even more troops from Germany.
There is a contingent of American soldiers in Europe whom Joe Biden has stationed here on a temporary basis. There has been talk of their withdrawal for quite some time now. We also received a commitment from Joe Biden that we would receive Tomahawk missiles. Donald Trump has never repeated that. He has not yet given us that commitment. So not everything we've been hearing over the last few days is actually new. It may be being exaggerated a bit, but it's nothing new.
He has once again threatened to impose higher tariffs. A 25% tariff on vehicles from the EU to take effect as early as next week was actually supposed to be 15%. Do you get the feeling that Trump wants to target Germany in particular because we would be particularly hard hit?
He wants to address the whole of Europe. He is, quite frankly, rightly a little disappointed that we in the European Union have still not reached a conclusion regarding the Turnberry Agreement, which was concluded last year in August in Scotland. To this day, there is still resistance to this agreement within the European Parliament.